Vaginas are absolute magic, and Ollie is here to give them the respect they deserve. That means shame-free supplements made with clinically studied ingredients to keep your pH in check and your pleasure a priority. Put yourself on top. Go to ollie.com today. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Brooks Running has a new shoe for you runners out there. Did you hear that? Better turn up your volume. In fact, turn it up to the max. Introducing the all-new Ghost Max. It's got all kinds of things to make your knees and ankles feel protected, like Max Cushion, Max Soft Landings with DNA Loft V2 foam, and Max Smooth Rides with their Glide Roll Rocker. Feel better on your run with Ghost Max. Learn more at brooksrunning.com.
Electricast. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Claudia Monticelli with another episode of my podcast, Let's Talk Soul. Today I have with me Rebecca Doring. Rebecca, say hello to our audience.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so happy to have you here. Rebecca's speaking to us from Connecticut. And let me give you a brief intro. I'm sure she has so much to add, but let's tell you who Rebecca Doring is. She is a meditation teacher, inner fulfillment coach, and host of the podcast called Inner Critic Freedom. And she helps wellness advocates dissolve their inner critics so that they can maintain their peace. That's a big word, peace, and achieve their goals. She's most passionate about helping others discover who they really are and what they're really meant for, so they stop staying small and can share their gifts with the world. And I'll include in the description her contacts so you could contact her. Well, now how's a nice girl like you doing in a business like this, Rebecca?
I came into this wellness industry from a desire to heal myself, to find peace within myself. I was always a child that sought out joy and a young adult that sought out joy and was somebody that others could find some joy and peace around, but inside I felt the opposite of that. I felt a lot of inner turmoil. And so my own desire to heal that.
Let me stop you a moment.
Sure.
If for those of you who don't have the benefit of a video, obviously, let me explain what I'm looking at. This is your all-American girl, like a huge, she could be in an ad for toothpaste. She's smiley, clear, clean cut, absolutely, carefree. Okay, so when you tell us something like that, it's not alarming because we all go through that. I haven't had a guest who hasn't gone through that. But if you would like to share that with us, how deep down did it go? How, because you mentioned healing. And healing has many different forms. I don't want you to talk about something you're not comfortable with, but what was it that hurt the most?
For me, I was my own worst enemy, always. That
you were
I
your
would,
most. You were your. Okay, so this is that inner critic that we're talking about, right?
Correct. I'm now teaching what I experienced myself, but I was my own worst enemy. I would go out of my way to take care of everybody else, but I had no idea how to truly care for myself from my own mind. And as I entered the wellness industry, I began accumulating tools to help with energy, help with my physical well-being. And all of that helped, but there was still a deep-seated sense of oftentimes self-loathing where I would beat myself up and hold myself to impossible standards and always think that I needed to throw myself away in order to become something better, to feel better. And I had no idea how to embrace who I really was or if that would even be of value.
I mean, in this type of scenario that you're explaining, something comes to mind: the shadow, our shadow self,
Right.
Could we say that that is some kind of definition for what you're talking about? A shadow self, that ugly
Sure.
side.
Yeah, sure. I certainly could I identify as that. Absolutely. I think for me, I thought I needed to reject the shadow side. I don't know if I consciously
Ah,
thought about that, but I thought that
mm.
I needed to find a way to get rid of it. And instead,
Ooh,
the answer was to learn to
embrace
accept
it
it,
and dance with it.
embrace it, yeah,
Yeah.
and find compassion for it and come to love it and care for
Mm-hmm.
it
Yeah, yeah,
until
yeah.
it's truly. And then the thing that I've consistently found with both myself and my clients and my students over the years is that when we do that, we find our greatest gifts.
Yeah, yeah.
And for me,
Can
I
I?
grew up. Go
Mm-hmm.
ahead.
No, no, go ahead. You grew up. This is
Okay,
what I was going to ask you. Go ahead.
cool. Yeah. So I grew up always looking for the good in people, looking for the light. I've always had this gift where I
Yes,
could
a
see the truth
natural
of other people.
tendency. Mm-hmm. Do you have
Yeah.
siblings?
I have a brother.
Uh-huh. And so is he affected by this similar um, shadow that you
It's
know of?
possible. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I don't truly want to speak for him because
Mm-hmm. Sure.
he's not really dabbling in the wellness industry
Right.
like I am, but it's possible. It's
Yeah,
possible
yeah.
he
Well, let's
definitely
put
is
it this
affected.
way, Rebecca. I'm wondering if this is something that is, the way you mentioned the wellness industry, it's not really inherent to the wellness industry. People have that side of them in any kind of industry, in anything they do. This is
Oh
why.
yeah, absolutely.
So, my next question is, well, then, why did you get into the wellness industry? Was that part of
Sure.
your training formation or?
Yeah, I mean, I actually went to pastry school. I was called for pastry. So,
You
to
don't
answer your
look like you
question,
have any cavities. She has these beautiful teeth.
well, thank you. Yeah, so I was very much a perfectionist, which goes
Uh-huh.
hand in hand with, beating ourselves up. So I was very much a perfectionist, and the pastry world lends itself very well to perfectionism.
Oh,
It
I
works well, it
imagine.
demands it.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I was led to that, and I thrived in that environment externally, but internally it made all of that inner suffering louder and harder to ignore. And
Hmm.
that is what led me to the wellness industry over time. I was exposed to yoga when I was 16.
Oh, I
So
see.
I had been doing yoga throughout that time in my pastry career, but it wasn't until my father was diagnosed with terminal cancer
Yes.
when and I was working in the food industry, and I was having to give up my nights and my weekends, and I
Mm-hmm.
was beating myself up and felt so much turmoil inside and out that I
Yeah.
knew that I could not keep going in that way. And that
Right.
was the thing that woke me up and showed me that I had a choice. I could go down that path and be deeply taken down a really dark way,
Yeah.
or I could choose a different path for myself. And that's what led me to exploring more wellness. Then from then on, I couldn't really explain it. I was drawn to massage therapy,
Oh, I
became a
see.
massage therapist, then
Mm-hmm.
a meditation teacher, and eventually discovered that the thing that I was most drawn towards and the thing that I love and excel at and am lit up by and fulfilled by is helping people overcome the inner struggles that I learned to do over those
Uh-huh.
years.
Uh-huh. When you say you're a meditation teacher, how do you go about that, if you don't mind me asking? Let's say that I see your name, I listen to this episode, I go onto your website, which is deeprootedbliss.com, and I see classes. Will that happen? Will I see classes for meditation there?
Sure. Yeah. I have a weekly class every Wednesday that's available to drop into. And then
Mm-hmm.
I have a membership. So I have a membership that's designed to help you advance your meditation practice, but also it's more than just meditation. To me, I see meditation as a tool that
Yeah.
allows us to turn within and
Yeah.
learn to embrace ourselves and then apply that to our external goals as well. So the membership is all about that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's me. I'm still me, and I'm going to your website and I see all these things and I think, let me give it a try Wednesday once. Okay. So I go in and I log on. Is that right? Is there a link
Mhm.
to log on? I pay you a certain thing, whatever.
Yep.
And how long does it last?
The meditation classes on Wednesdays are about 30 minutes. So I usually
Uh-huh.
start with a little teaching, something that will give you a place to make it meaningful to your day. So I
Hmm.
love to make meditation applicable to your personal daily ups and downs, your goals and your
Hmm.
struggles. So I usually start with a little bit of inspiration, something to anchor you, and then I
Hmm.
show you a specific breath work and a meditation practice to support that theme.
Okay. Do you have any kind of intake form before the person comes and joins that Wednesday? I don't know, a form so you know where they're coming from, what they need. You don't have any of that.
No, not for that
Mm-hmm.
class. For my
Uh-huh.
individual coaching, I have an application form,
Okay.
and that's where I would learn more about your personal goals and your personal struggles, see if it's something that I can support you with, and then we would go into a call where we would see if it's the right fit.
Okay. So let's say that I'm new and there are, I don't know, four other people there, and they have been following you weekly for months, let's say. Is it easy? Because usually the people in any kind of class are at different levels or
Mm.
have different backgrounds. How do you deal with that?
Mm.
This episode is brought to you by Seed. Seed's DSO1 is a 2-in-1 probiotic and prebiotic designed for whole body health. Formulated with 24 clinically and scientifically studied strains, DSO1 offers benefits in and beyond the gut. See why DSO1 is the probiotic recommended by top doctors and nutritionists. Go to seed.com/Spotify for 25% off Seed's DSO1 Daily Symbiotic.
I love to meet everyone where they are on their meditation journey. I have students who have been practicing for over 30 years. I have brand
Uh-huh.
new students. And I love to teach, which is one of the reasons why I love to teach a theme, because I think the theme is the meeting point where we can all
Look, give me
connect
an
together.
example. Come on. Do you mind giving us a
Sure.
sneak preview? Go ahead.
Sure. Yeah. For
Okay, go
example,
ahead.
this month's theme that we've been focusing on is transforming worry and
Hmm.
expanding your capacity for joy. So I'll
Uh-huh.
call upon specific
Wait
examples
a
in each
minute,
class.
Rebecca. 30 minutes? Boy, that's a jam-packed session there. I
Well,
mean,
that's the
30
thing.
minutes four
It's
times in the month.
sure.
But
Yeah.
that's
Well,
a
obviously, I'm
lot.
not giving you a way to transform worry and expand your capacity
Right.
for joy for the
Sure.
rest of your life. I'm giving you one simple, doable tool that you can
Right.
apply today.
Okay. Okay. And
So
then the next
it's like less
Wednesday,
is more. Less
it will
is
be
more.
more. Okay. So the next Wednesday, there'll be another applicable tool. And then the following Wednesday, the
Sure.
same. Okay. I get it. I get it. All right. So
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
what do you do for the rest of the week? Boy, that's a nice job. Nothing. She does nothing, ladies and gentlemen. So you
I
mentioned
work with a
your
lot of
one-on-one.
clients.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I work with a lot of clients one-on-one,
Yeah.
supporting them in healing and dissolving their inner critic, giving them the
Uh-huh.
tools to overcome imposter syndrome and
All right.
navigate those inner struggles so that they can feel lit up and understand
Okay.
what they do, like what they
Uh-huh.
love to do, what they feel called to do. So I do a
Mm-hmm.
lot of that, and I also have a group program that does the same thing,
Mm-hmm. So
plus my podcast.
we can describe ourselves in some. I'm you're just going to throw it out as healers, but that's a pretty wide category, and we all have our own um, lexis. I mean, we use different words. Okay, your main the emergent theme in your work is the inner critic, and
Mm.
you know, working to heal a person who has that. Have you found that people come to you with a an experience, a problem, issues that may not correspond to an inner critic, but
Mm.
there are some things that overlap with the inner critic?
Sure.
Can you
A
give me
lot
an
of people,
example?
sure. Many people who come to me
Yeah.
have a feeling of they are frozen, they are stuck, and they are
Stuck.
feeling the opposite of how they want to feel. So whether that means they're experiencing tremendous anxiety or
Right.
tremendous worry,
Uh-huh.
or they have goals and they can see the steps they need to take to reach them, but they are not taking action and they have no idea why.
Right.
These are the things that my clients typically are experiencing, and they're longing for more. They're feeling called for more. They know
Mm-hmm.
more is possible for others, at least. They're not sure if it's necessarily possible for them, but they feel
Mm-hmm.
drawn towards that.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the people that I typically say, okay, yeah, let's talk about this. Let's dig in a
Mm-hmm.
little bit deeper.
And now I'm going to ask you a question that you may not want to answer, but let's say we know when we have positive results. We know when we're doing our job, but what our efforts are having some kind of positive effect on people we work with because of the feedback that we get. In your work, have you ever had a case where it just didn't work? A person who came to you just left. Okay, they just it didn't work out. Did you find that happen?
Well, it's interesting for me, the type of people that do sign up to do this
Yes.
work
Mm-hmm.
are those who are interested in doing the
Right.
work.
That's what I thought.
Those
Mm-hmm.
that are not yet ready for doing
Yeah.
that work, that's okay.
Yeah.
I give them resources like my podcast. I might
Mm-hmm.
share with them other books that I've recommend and read. So
Right.
those I usually know, and they usually know right away before they even sign up to work with
Uh-huh.
me if they
Right.
are ready for that. I have on which is very normal for all human beings, had clients experience resistance
Yes.
where right as we're coming up against the thing that either coming up
Yeah.
against receiving the thing that we've been longing for,
Right.
or coming up against discovering the thing that's been holding us back, we might experience it as resistance where all of a sudden
Mm-hmm.
we want to avoid. We're going to, go and do all the other tasks on our to-do
Right.
list. We're going to try and put off this call. I have had that. And
Mm-hmm.
I love teaching and supporting those students through that as well, if they are ready. But they need to be ready. And ultimately,
Yeah.
I'm merely the guide. I'm going to
Yes.
share the steps.
Of course.
But ultimately, I cannot do the work for them. They
Right.
must
Sure.
meet me.
Sure.
And so
that's a higher expense. That would be no price.
Right. Right.
So I imagine that you have a body of work. Okay, you've been doing this for some time, and I imagine that in some way you are putting together some kind of literature. And I'm getting to the book. Is there a book in the making?
There definitely will be. It's not
Okay.
currently being written, but it's something that I've been felt called to for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And perhaps next year I'll give it a go.
Yeah. And well, we'll talk then. We'll talk after. Perhaps you'll contact me and say, well, that's the baby has popped out.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
But also about the book. I mean, the book is always, it is like a baby. It takes usually 9 months to write, and then another 9 months to, get the nurturing and the weaning and all of that. When we in Italian say that we all usually have a dream in a drawer, okay, that's something that's put away, but at any time we could open that drawer and it'll pop out when we're ready. Do you have this kind of dream somewhere that you're looking at to realize in the future?
I love to set goals, and it is one of the things that I teach in how to set goals from a spiritual place. But yes, very much so. I always am working towards a larger vision, and included in that is absolutely a goal is speaking, TED Talks, I love public speaking now. I've come to love public speaking, especially with podcasting. It nurtures that little craving for sure. But absolutely, my larger vision is just to be able to help more people and share tools that I did not know existed for me,
For
especially.
example,
Well, my biggest message for anyone is the message that I needed to hear is that I think when we do these practices, we come into it feeling like there's something broken that needs to be fixed or healed.
Yeah.
And instead, what I love to show my clients and my students is that you are 100% worthy now and always. you are whole. You always
Mm-hmm.
have been, and you always will be, no matter what you do, no matter what you think,
Sure.
no matter what you feel. And the work is learning to release the stories that hold us back from that and come
Right.
to find that wholeness from within. So
Mm-hmm.
my larger vision is just sharing that message and having more people truly feel that and learn to believe it
Mm-hmm. Do
on a
you
larger
use
scale.
music in your practice?
I do not. I do not.
No, I'm trying to think of all of the occasions you may in the meditation class, a background music, any kind of sounds at all.
I do not, and here's why. For me, music creates an emotional experience.
Yes.
And that is a beautiful thing. I love music. I'm very passionate about listening to music. But in meditation, to me, it almost takes you in a different direction. It can be a distraction, but it can also just give you a different experience than one you could have with just yourself. And I like to teach people how to feel comfortable in the discomfort of being with just yourself.
Good. Now, it's always such a short time that we have to talk, but I'm sure we'll have you back when that book comes out. Is there one something that you would like to leave our audience with? A suggestion? I don't know, a tip? Anything?
Absolutely. I think one of the biggest things that I would love to leave you with, the listener, that if you could walk away with just one thing, is just because the stories of the inner critic or imposter syndrome can feel so true, question them. They are not true. I love the quote by Pema Chodron, "Your true nature is like a precious jewel. Although it may be temporarily buried in the mud, it remains completely brilliant and unaffected." And to me, the stories of the inner critic are merely the mud, and sometimes we get lost in the mud. So when you notice these stories, get curious about them.
Good.
Start to listen to
Ask
them
questions.
and then question them. Ask yourself, what else could be true? Is this ultimately true? And those questions to me will guide you to sift through the mud and find the jewel, your true nature.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. And I will have you back. You write to me. You'll remember to write to me. Ladies and gentlemen, let's say goodbye to Rebecca. And I will include all of her contacts in the description of the episode. Bye-bye, Rebecca. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. This was wonderful.
A pleasure. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to follow Let's Talk Soul podcast on Instagram. Let's Talk Soul podcast is a production of Electricast Media. Our executive producers are Mark Netter and Peter Rafelson. If you like our show and like what you hear, please subscribe and give us a rating wherever you enjoy podcasts. And remember, stay curious, stay inspired, and never stop exploring the depths of your soul.
Join us as we host Minding Business.
Let's face it, people of color are not at the top of the list when it comes to entrepreneurship in America. Here, we give you the tools and tips from successful business owners who look just like you.
And then we just come right out and ask, well, who made the potato salad?
Why does it matter who made the damn potato salad?
It don't really matter.
Exactly my point.
Because that's right. We discuss those sensitive topics faced in our community that the media likes to either overlook or sweep under the rug. The Minding Business podcast. We're looking out for your business.
Listen to us on Electricast and everywhere you listen to podcasts.
Electricast.
I could tell she was a dame who normally knew what she wanted.
I'm looking for something interesting.
But when it came to podcasts, she was lost in a fog. That's where I come in. The name's Guide, Podcast Guide. I'm the community search engine for podcasts, and I knew I could help her navigate the murky waters of podcasting and find the shows that fit her style.
Can you keep it down? A girl's trying to listen to a podcast here.
Head to www.podcastguide.us and let's solve this mystery together.